Okay, listen. We haven't done a proper intro in fucking weeks.
No, we have not.
Of this fucking show. And we're going to do one. God help me. We're doing an intro. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Whoa!
It's great. Welcome to Kentucky Fried Roadkill. I am the god of girth, Evan Pride.
I am your trampoline tramp, Treyton Blackburn.
Treyton, how you doing, buddy?
Great. I'm great. How are you?
I'm good. So we just watched welcome to Kentucky Fried Roadkill.
Welcome.
This
KFR.
This episode's out like a day late.
Day late and $1 short.
So sorry about that.
As my grandfather used to say.
Day late and $1 short.
Mm-hmm.
Is that when everything comes up short?
Yep. It's when it's too late to make amends.
Day late and $1 short.
Yep, you're day late and $1 short.
Well,
can't do nothing about it.
it's day late and $1 short, but
we're here.
But we're here. We I guess we I don't know if I have a hemorrhoid. I don't know if it just popped. or if it was just like a fart sliding through. Either way, this room probably smells a little more.
The reason that I decided to do this podcast with my good friend Evan is the true charm I think he brings to any project.
I'm very charismatic.
Yes, this is true.
Charismatic,
yeah.
Charismatic.
Very much so with your hemorrhoids discussion.
Yeah, I know. So we just watched. We haven't talked about the Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
We haven't.
Really at all.
No, and not because we're not enjoying it, but just because there's been a lot of shit going on, folks.
Yeah, a lot of shit's been going on. Well, other things to talk about. Also, it's not the same vibe as WandaVision.
No, WandaVision was a cultural moment, and while Falcon Winter Soldier is very well produced, it's not the ceiling's already been broken.
Yeah. It's good. It's much more Marvel-y, I guess.
It is.
WandaVision got pretty Marvel-y towards the end,
yes.
but it started off as like a different thing with different aspect ratios and everything, black and white. So, it doesn't. Falcon Winter Soldier seems like just.
Let's go ahead and preface spoilers for the Falcon and the Winter Soldier if you've not seen it.
Yes, so there at the time of this release, there's one episode left.
One episode remaining.
Treyton and I just watched the most recent episode that came out today.
The penultimate episode, some might say.
Is that what
penultimate? Yeah, the one prior to the finale.
The crisis right before the climax.
Yes. So let's give a breakdown of like what we think. We can get into specifics about the episode, but let's talk about like the
characters and shit.
Yeah, and what we've been thinking thus far before we get into this episode.
Yeah, because we watched the first 2 episodes together, and then we just watched this most recent one together.
Yeah.
So we already know some of each other's thoughts.
Yeah.
I guess when I think of this show, I think of the fake Captain America,
John Walker.
Yes. And how he's just the most laughable character.
He is the worst. He is
like every single line he says is just, it's laughable because you're like, this character just just needs to go to therapy. He just needs to go and work some shit out. He's got PTSD, obviously. He's got big ego issues.
Yeah, very narcissistic.
Yeah, and very uncontrolled.
Yeah, very much a soldier who follows orders no matter what.
Yeah, and then makes it sound like he's a brave guy who's given orders.
Yeah.
He's pretty much. I mean, I guess this whole show, Marvel's been getting more and more socio-political, social message.
Yeah.
I guess thematic of the times.
Yes.
And so this one seems to be. I mean, the whole thing seems to be just kind of obviously moving these characters along. And some fun, good action. Yeah,
they're investigating a lot of the.
It's like the whole idea. They inflated the whole idea of now Captain America is the idea of America and the ideals, and now fake Captain America, he's a cop.
He's a jingoistic, nationalistic, fascist cop.
Yeah, and then like you got the Flag Smashers. They're kind of like
anarcho-communists.
Anarcho-communists.
Yeah,
they just want the world to hold hands. Like, And
I love because in the comics, Carl Morgenthau, the Flag Smasher,
they changed it to
they changed it to a woman.
Yes,
Carly Morgenthau, which I thought was an apt choice. I don't think I'm going to love what they do with the Flag Smashers, but we'll get into that later.
Yeah, because you support their cause.
I do support their cause. I think they're correct.
It makes sense. Well, it's funny because people always talk about, like, I guess that anarcho-communist idea. People always talk about, well, we can't just reset everything and shit.
Yeah, and they're living in a world where it happened.
Where things did reset, and then now they're trying to get back into order. I feel like when in the shows like this, everything after the blip, the first thing any characters would say to each other, like, "Hey, were you dead for 4 years, or were you around for all that?"
Yeah. Were you around during the blip? No.
They mentioned that in the last episode. The guy who made all the super soldier serum
he
juice
got blipped out.
Or I guess that was 2 episodes ago.
Mm-hmm.
I just watched the last 3 all today.
Yeah.
So they're kind of. Yeah. So, but he got blipped out. He's like, I turned into dust midway through my studies.
Well,
then when I came back, you got to think about that. Thanos probably killed a lot of evil people when he snapped them.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
50% of all things. Does that mean like plants died and shit too?
I never understood.
If you
quite.
Was it all organisms, or it was all life in the universe?
Yeah.
So like, we only see what happened on Earth, but somewhere on Mars, some little Martian's wife went,
Martian, or the fucking bacteria and the frozen in the ice disappeared.
Yeah.
The other bacteria was like, well, shit. That makes things hard.
I think I've talked about it on the show before, or just to you, but I would watch a show that just dealt with non like superhero characters, just the Marvel universe
during the blip.
The whole concept of the blip, where everybody goes away, and then like 5 years later, half the people come back.
And here's the thing: think about, because I don't think this is interrogated enough. Think about how many people in the blip immediately died because they were on airplanes and the planes aren't there anymore.
Oh,
like they just appear in the middle of the air and drop and plummet to the earth. Like it doesn't matter that they've been brought back.
Or if you're on a plane during the blip and the pilot gets zapped, and then the
plane just goes down.
Yeah, the plane goes down, and then when the unblip happens, all the people who got zapped on the plane come back, but the people who died in the plane crash, they're just fucking dead.
Yep.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah.
Fascinating stuff.
I feel like with Marvel movies, you could break down shit like that, the logic of it. Like there's certain things that the MCU does that annoy me.
Well, one that we were just talking about. During Captain America's shield.
Oh,
and the fucking physics of it.
Oh yeah,
how dangerous that thing would be.
Yeah, that fucking part where Sam's out in his front yard, and he's got the pads on the trees, and he's just throwing it, and it's ricocheting back, and it's
he's
like
missing catching it.
Yeah, he's not very good at it at first, and there's just kids running around.
Yeah, I was like, dude, you need to tell your fucking nephews to get in the house.
Yeah, I know. His
right
sister's
now.
gonna get decapitated.
Yeah, and that's the one thing, like. And it's like the suspension of disbelief with any superhero narrative. Like, it's why The Boys is so compelling. Like, if the Flash ran into you, you'd explode. You would be dead.
Yeah.
So you would be beyond dead.
Oh, I guess that's interesting because The Boys is super violent, and Falcon Winter Soldier is one of the more violent Marvel things.
It certainly is.
We ever see, which I would love if they just. I mean, they have to make money. I get it. And I guess they're comic book things and they're kids' movies, technically. Yeah. I guess. But wouldn't it be great? That's why Deadpool is so awesome. Just same universe, just super fucking violent.
Yeah. Well, and here's the thing that I think about violence. At some level, like, I think they're like, you don't want your violence to be so sterile that like nobody buys that anything hurts. Like, kids understand the concept of blood. Right? Yeah. Well, and I think Falcon Winter Soldier walks a nice line between like grotesque hyperviolence and sanitized violence. Like, I think it's a nice, the violence is realistic, but it's not insanely gory.
Yeah,
Or
yeah.
realistic in quotation marks.
Fucking John Walker gets the whole fucking big bout. It's just him fighting all these dudes. Or right at the beginning of this most recent episode, it's him fighting Bucky and Sam.
Yeah.
And he gets the his utter shit pushed in, and they never go beyond just a trickle of blood out of like the ear or the nose.
Yeah.
Or like they kind of got scratched up like one spot, and then the next scene they're always fine.
Are you watching Invincible on Amazon Prime?
No, I've heard of it.
So I'm watching it and I'm reading the comic book. And one thing that I think is interesting about Invincible is I think it is the most realistic level of violence I've ever seen, because there are like high levels of gore, but only when it's warranted. So like, I don't want to spoil anything, but like there's a Superman analog. And there's one scene where, I mean, he's just kicking the shit out of people, and he's like obliterating them because that's what Superman would do.
Yeah, if Superman punched you, you would just be
you would be hanging off his wrist.
You'd be blood dust in the air. Yeah,
and that's the thing. But like in other circumstances where like fights are happening, and the punches aren't as like hard hitting, there's not a lot. Like it's a nice sort of realistic balance of violence of like what that and like. There's one scene where like the fucking main character, Invincible, he's getting his fucking shit beaten in, and like you sort of see the progression of his injury. Like it goes from like a bloody nose to like black eyes and then like teeth, and like by the end of the fucking fight he's brutalized. Yeah. Because he's taken so many hits.
Anime and cartoons, if they do violence well, violence really works for cartoons. Did you ever watch the Happy Tree Friends?
I did.
That's like it's funny because now with YouTube and the way algorithms work, there's little kids who will parents just give their little kids an iPad and be like, have fun, raise yourself. And, and they go on YouTube and they're looking at like Frozen and Spider-Man videos. And people make like fucked up like creepypasta, like Mickey Mouse, like it's fucked up shit. And like it'll be like Elsa stepping on a nail. And it's just hyper violent shit. And pretty much our version of that was Happy Tree Friends, because Happy Tree Friends.
And here's the thing about
you should look it up if you haven't watched it. It's just cute and cuddly cartoons. They were funny, I guess.
Insane hyperviolence.
Insane hyperviolence. Oh my god.
And here's the thing about me. I don't know if I've said this on the show or not before. If I have, I'm going to reiterate it. I'm notoriously squeamish. I'm a very, very squeamish person. I'm gross, but I'm squeamish.
I get. But what about squeamish is it? Because like
I just like I don't love seeing body parts exist in a way they're not supposed to. Like even in real life, like if I see
like a foot, like a Halloween foot hanging out of someone's trunk,
or like not even that, because like fake gore doesn't bother me, but it's like stuff that borders on realism or like has emotional responses to it that bothers me. So like for example,
like his John
when John Walker's arm spoilers, when his arm gets broken in this episode, I was like, ooh, fuck, don't like that. Or like I don't like what my favorite season of American Horror Story is very controversial, but it's Roanoke.
You don't like the clown season?
I've not seen the clown season. Tara hates it and won't let me watch it. By the way,
you're a whole clown guy. You haven't
I know.
They have a whole like circus.
A whole circus one.
Season.
Tara won't watch it with me because she hates it.
That's the only one I've seen. I've seen like 1 or 2 episodes from that.
Anyway, by the way, Tara watches the show or listens to the show. I didn't know.
Oh, does she really?
Yeah, she does. She told me the other day that she listens to it. And I was like, why?
Hi, Tara.
Hi, Tara. We love you so. I love you so much. Gosh, I love you.
I love you just in a different way.
Yeah. In a very platonic sort of
less creepy way.
Unfulfilled.
It's not creepy
staring from afar.
Yeah.
Kind of way.
It's not creepy when Treyton says it because you guys are married, but
right.
Tara did not like me when we first met.
No. Yeah. Tara thought
that's one of my favorite stories.
Yeah, Tara was like, because I was pumping you up to her. I was like, I really like him.
I think that's why a lot of people didn't like me when I got to
because I was selling you up so high.
Well, because other people were selling me up so high. I won't say names, but
I was selling you up, and Tara met you, and she was like, He just seems like he's got an ego. I don't think I like him.
I did have an ego.
And then about 2 months after she met you, she came up to me and she was like, "Fuck you." And I was like, "What?" She was like, "I really like him. He's really good. I like Evan a lot." And I was like, "See, I told you you'd come around." She was like, "My intuition is rarely wrong, but I was wrong about Evan Pride."
He's gross and vulgar, but he's got a charm.
He's got a charm to him.
Yeah,
yeah.
Something about him, like his hemorrhoid popped when we were talking earlier, and just it's the charismatic dude that Evan.
But anyway, notoriously squeamish.
Yes.
And I've never been into hyperviolence in anything.
No.
Like, I like The Boys, but not because of the violence. The violence is something I put up with because I like The Boys.
Yeah. That's so weird because I don't like violence, obviously, but I like it when like a show that is violent, where they show violence. I like it when they show like someone gets punched and their skull just explodes or some shit like that.
And
like,
let's be very clear.
Game of Thrones and shit
media
like that.
depictions of violence are different than actual violence. Like, obviously, neither of us are really violent people.
No. But
violence in media is cool.
Yeah, obviously. We're talking about movies and video games.
Yeah.
I mean, who didn't? When you play Gears of War, you want to chainsaw someone in half.
I
and
never
see the
played Gears of War.
Blood go everywhere.
It was too gory for me.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I didn't play Gears of War.
They
it was
had
too gory for me.
Not in the first one, but on Gears of War 2 and 3 and the future ones, I guess. They had like a kid mode where you could put it on kid mode where they would bleep out all the swearing and just it was I mean, there was still blood, but it wasn't like gory.
Let me put a pin in that. We're going to come back to this because I have a question.
Okay.
But later. Back to what I was saying about my favorite season of American Horror Story.
Right.
Roanoke. It's so gory. It's such a gory season of the show. And there's a scene in it that made my stomach churn. Spoilers for American Horror Story Roanoke if you haven't seen it.
Mm-hmm.
There's a scene because like what it is the season comments on like supernatural media. So like the first few episodes are like a paranormal investigation show of like this is a thing that happened to me, kind of like Unsolved Mysteries.
Yeah, and then
the
like
next
a ghost hunter show.
Yeah, exactly. And like each episode, like they do like several episode stints in the season, but like every episode is like a different like type of ghost media. And one of them is like this guerrilla ghost hunter show where they like climb the fence into this haunted house and shit.
Yeah.
And one of the villains of Roanoke is called the Butcher, and she's like it's about the lost colony of Roanoke, obviously. And the Butcher leads like all the ghosts of the Roanoke colony, and they, torture the people who live in this house. It's set in Roanoke, Virginia. Well, there's one episode, this Guerrilla Ghost Hunters episode, where from in a first-person perspective, as the person being impaled, you watch as a person, like, from their perspective, is
the spike
is impaled and set on fire. It is it is one of the most gruesome, stomach-churning scene, like also disemboweled.
Disembowelment really gets me.
Disemboweled.
Like, I remember the first time I watched Scream,
pitted on a stake,
first
set
time I
on
watched
fire.
Scream, she turns on her front porch lights and her boyfriend's just gutted in that chair.
Yeah, fuck.
That's 2 times gore has got me where like I was like I like
yeah.
I mean, obviously you get squeam like if blood and guts come out of nowhere and you're eating something.
Yeah.
Like obviously you're like ugh.
Or fucking.
But like that time I almost passed out.
Yeah.
One time in class we were watching this was in high school. We were watching like some like serial killer documentary, and they're like, don't do drugs, and if you like drink beer before you turn 21 you'll be a serial killer, and they were showing us this documentary to prove it, and they were talking about Richard Ramirez, and it was just the whole thing was I get squeamish about blood.
Yeah.
Like I don't mind like an explosion of blood or any of that. What I don't like is like I know that blood is supposed to be in your veins and it's supposed to be moving around and shit. And when there any veins being slit or anything,
Oh, yeah.
and like blood like
Yeah,
spurting
the
out
spurt,
of a body.
yeah.
Yeah, that's what gets me.
Well, and like
and they showed like a reenactment, and like there was just little spurts of blood here and there, and the whole thing was like themed red. And I was in class like, I think I'm gonna pass out. Like I had to like go up to my teacher and be like, I need to like use the bathroom or something, and they're like, you need to watch this. This is very important. We need to make sure you don't turn into a serial killer after you graduate from here.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm gonna die if I don't fucking get out of here. But yeah, I'm not a squeamish guy. Squeamishness definitely runs in my family. My mom and my brother especially, they'll do this thing called vasovague. When they, I guess it's just when you like see blood, and I guess your brain goes like, but blood, it's there, it's supposed to be in here, and you just like fucking pass out.
My cousin, whose name I can't say on the show, I'm glad I caught that. My cousin David. My cousin David has that issue. But for him, it's the smell. Like when he smells, like the irony, sort of like coppery smell. He's gone.
Here's a question. What's the best smell?
The best smell?
And I can answer that for you.
You can?
It is when you walk in a Papa John's.
Interesting.
I don't know what it is about it. I think it obviously it's part of it's nostalgic because there was a Papa John's right next to my house growing up.
And you were there?
I was there frequently.
Yeah.
But like you go in there and it just smells so light and like airy, and I don't know if there's just dough in the air and just flour, or I don't know what it is, but it's very. I love the smell of a Papa John's.
My favorite smell, I like very like home improvement smells. Like I love going into a Lowe's,
like wood,
paint. I love those smells.
I love grass.
Literally,
the smell of the morning, like fucking dew.
I don't love that.
You don't like that?
No, I don't love that smell.
I love the smell. It's like if you've been camping and you get up and it's like 7:30 a.m. and it's like the bugs are all chirping and there's that dew on the grass. It's so cold, but there's a certain just smell in the air. It just smells of forest. I love it. Yeah. The woods.
Yeah.
I got a shout out. By the way, we watched a horror movie last night.
What'd you watch?
The Ritual.
I've seen it.
You've seen it?
I sure have.
Let's discuss.
It's about the guy. Well, we still haven't talked about Falcon Winter Soldier.
Oh, we haven't. Okay. Well,
one movie at a time.
Just The Ritual. I mean, I was just thinking about it because it's very gory as well.
It is.
At parts.
But I don't think it's.
And it also has the woods. I enjoyed it. It freaked me the fuck out. Like
I love the monster.
Anything
in The Ritual.
Yeah, it is a cool monster.
It's such a cool monster.
Because it goes different from what most monsters look like.
Mm-hmm.
I guess spoiler. It just kind of looks like a big moose.
Yeah, it's quadrupedal, which is actually
hands.
Rare for a horror movie monster.
Yeah.
I can only think of two off the top of my head, and it's the monsters from A Quiet Place and the monster from The Ritual. Those are the only two quadrupeds I can think of.
Yeah. I guess like any like big monster movie, but like a horror movie. Yeah, horror movie, they're normally up on their hind legs.
Yeah, and how scary it would be to be gored by something with antlers. What a fucking scary way to die.
It had like human arms, and it would grab you and just stare at you, and then just impale you on a tree.
Yeah, so fucking scary. Gosh, what a good monster design.
It's a brutal.
It is.
Watch that movie.
Watch The Ritual.
We kind of spoiled it, but hey, there's a monster.
There's a monster.
Yeah, and he's good.
You figured that out pretty quick, though, if I remember right.
If you watch the trailer, we watched the trailer before we watched it.
I thought the monster was on the fucking poster.
They don't show it till like the final minutes of the movie.
Yeah,
but that's once they show the monster in a horror movie, I'm so just like, okay, well, this movie can't scare me anymore. I know what it looks like.
Oh, I don't.
It's always the build up. The last 30.
The
last 30 minutes of a horror movie, I'm like, that you can only jump scare me. Like, there's nothing, or you could kill a main character that I like, but you can't. There's no mystique anymore.
See, I would disagree because I think there are some designs that like. For me, I never get comfortable looking at them. They always make me kind of uncomfortable to look at. One good example is the fucking lipstick demon from The first Insidious movie? It's Insidious?
Insidious, or is that Conjuring?
It's one or the other. I can't remember. Those movies blend together for me.
The lipstick demon, I think that's Conjuring, right? Where it's like the big, it looks like the spitter from Left 4 Dead.
It looks like Darth Maul.
That's
the lipstick
maybe not.
demon.
I don't know.
Anyway, every time I look at the lipstick demon, it gives me chills. I'm like, ooh, I don't like looking at you.
Yeah.
But like,
I mean, I guess Quiet Place. It's
ugh, I hated their fucking faces that came apart.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah. Something about that. If the face comes apart, like the what are the things called? Demogorgon in Stranger Things, and did you ever play any of the Resident Evil games?
I did not.
The zombies in there, they're pretty much zombies, but they like come from there's some infection, some bio war or whatever, and they're zombies, but their face splits open 4 ways and grabs you like that. Something about that just being eaten
Crunched,
by both sides. Yeah.
I don't love fungus either when it's incorporated into design. Fungus just fucking grosses me out.
Interesting.
Like the zombies in The Last of Us, where they've got like the fucking mushrooms growing out of their heads.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, what was the game? Halo. I guess you didn't play any of the Xbox games.
I had an Xbox for a minute, but I only had one long enough to play Call of Duty Black Ops. The first
I only
one.
had one long enough to play that cross-platform game that was on all. I guess that they don't put CODs on Nintendo.
Well, the thing is because all my friends, like, I wanted to play with them on Xbox Live. They all had Xboxes.
Yeah.
I had a PS4, but nobody else had a PS4. Or a PS3 or whatever it was at the time.
Xbox, that's the only reason the Xbox One sold units was because the 360 was so good and people all gamed with their friends on Xbox.
Yeah.
PlayStation didn't really have a good platform for that.
Right.
But the PS4 was a better, hindsight, it was the better console.
Yeah.
And had the better party system.
What's
and
your
all that.
favorite game console ever made?
Oh, I had all my best times on a 360. I might have. It's definitely not the best one ever made. It literally red ringed, and it was a shitty piece of hardware. It had a lot of good games on it.
Yeah.
I like the PS2, Xbox One. I have that now. It sucks. It runs games, I guess. PS5 looks cool. I'll get that.
I'll never be able to afford one.
I'll be able to afford that when the PS6 comes out.
Yeah.
GameCube.
Yeah.
GameCube probably has to
I
be
was
the
waiting
best.
when we were getting there.
The best console. It probably just has to be.
It's so great.
By far the most durable one. I would never.
I could throw my GameCube as hard as I could.
Yeah, you could use it like Captain America's shield.
Yeah, and it would come right back.
Ching, ching, ching.
Ting,
Yeah.
ting, ting.
Yeah, with just blood on it.
And fucking the games on the GameCube. Like,
Yeah.
so many great memories on a GameCube.
Great controller.
Yeah.
Just
still in my opinion the greatest controller ever designed.
yeah, probably one of the better ones for sure.
Love the fucking like.
I like
Legend of Zelda.
I like the offset joysticks. That's I can't get over that for PlayStation.
I get that.
Yeah, I feel like my hands are always falling forward.
I feel
like
that too.
Always falling out of my hand.
That's the thing about a GameCube controller is it's so ergonomic. It feels so good in your hands.
Yeah. And the thing I like about an Xbox controller, you have kind of that diagonal grip where it's not slipping left and right, and it's not slipping up and down.
Yeah.
And I get sweaty hands when I game.
Me too.
Yeah.
But like fucking Legend of Zelda: The Wind Waker,
Yeah.
the first Pikmin game, Super Mario Sunshine, like banger after Super Smash Brothers Melee, like banger after banger after banger on the GameCube.
Yeah. Big fan of the GameCube. I never had a GameCube. That would always be the one that I would go over to a friend's house and they would have a GameCube.
Yeah.
So I didn't play many of. I borrowed my buddy Adam's GameCube for like a week, and I played through. I think it felt like the first half for me, but it was probably the first eighth of the game, Legend of Zelda, the one everybody likes, Ocarina.
Ocarina of Time.
Yeah, Ocarina of Time, which I enjoyed it.
Which
thoroughly.
for the GameCube, it's a port because it's originally for the Nintendo 64, but there is a port for the GameCube.
Or did I play it on a 64?
The 64 controller is perhaps the worst controller ever designed.
Yeah, with the stick in the middle.
Yeah, why?
I think
it's
they
so
made
hard.
that for people to stick up their ass. They had to.
Had to.
Or
it serves no other purpose.
Or so that nerds could have like brass knuckles if they were ever walking down an alley.
Pap, pap, pap.
Yeah.
No, but and of course the greatest game ever made, Luigi's Mansion, is for the GameCube.
Course. Yeah.
Luigi's Mansion, which is easily, honestly, probably the first Luigi's Mansion game is in my top 5 favorite games of all time. I love that game so much.
I've never played it.
Oh, it's so fucking fun.
I don't know if a Mario would make it. It wouldn't in my top 5.
No. Luigi's Mansion is not a Mario game.
Or I don't know if a Nintendo game.
It's a
would.
ghost-busting Luigi game.
Yeah, Luigi's Mansion. They made a remake of
They
that.
made a remake and they made 2
several
sequels.
Remakes.
There are 2 sequels.
Okay.
Luigi's Mansion 2 and Luigi's Mansion 3.
I really, honestly, the only Mario game that I've completed is Mario Odyssey.
It's so good.
But that's my favorite type of, I guess, old game like that, platformer.
Interesting.
But there's no like Banjo-Kazooie.
Yeah.
I really liked Banjo-Kazooie. I played through that. But like, yeah. Maybe I just like the platforming. I like collecting things. It's a giant collectathon, pretty much. I don't know, but it's fun to explore those things.
I've never been a platformer or a collectathon guy. I'm an RPG guy. I like a good, but I don't like JRPGs. Like I never got into Final Fantasy. But like you give me like Super Mario RPG or Paper Mario or Pokemon, like
I would always get lost in those
Digimon.
big worlds.
I love.
I was mainly a first-person shooter guy. Shooter. I was a shooter.
I was not a shooter kid. I
shooter
played it
kid.
because I wanted to play with my friends, but I never like. The whole time I was playing with my friends, I was like, I wish I wasn't doing this right now.
Yeah.
Can we play something else?
I get bored by shooters now. They bore me.
I love fighters. I love fighting games.
Oh,
games.
I hate fighting games.
I love them.
Depends on the fighting game. I'm so bad at them.
Street Fighter, Marvel vs. Capcom, Mortal Kombat, Smash Brothers, all
Smash is different though.
It is because it's a platform fighter.
Yeah.
The first platform fighter, in fact.
I like party games.
Ooh, I like party games too. Mario Party, love it. Every introduction into the Mario Party party series I've loved.
Jackbox is it's a great go-to.
Very good.
If you ever have friends over, you don't know what to do, throw in a Jackbox party game. You play Quiplash, play TKO.
TKO is the best.
And you can all just write and draw horrible things.
You play fucking what's the name of the fucking one where you all make up words?
I don't know. That's my
I love that one. That was my favorite. That's one of my favorites. I like that game a lot.
Guess-spionage or something.
No, Guess-spionage is the spy one. Fibbage is the one where you try to lie.
I don't know the word one.
I can't remember either, but I love that game.
Drawful's a good one.
Drawful's good, yeah.
Yeah. Shoot.
The Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Yeah, Falcon Winter Soldier, man.
So as our listeners already know, I'm pretty far left. In this episode, pretty well solidified that the Flag Smashers, while the show is sympathetic to their cause, they are going to be the final villains of this show.
I think I think they're setting up. I mean, there's only one episode left.
Yep.
I think they're setting up John Walker to be the final main antagonist.
Yeah, but they're certainly not like. They've certainly gone all in on the Flag Smashers. Essentially.
They barely
doing a coup.
They barely mentioned them this last episode.
They did.
This last episode was very casual,
very casual and very character driven.
Very character driven.
A lot of important good stuff for Bucky and Sam.
Yeah. It was that scene where Sam went back and
talked to Isaiah Bradley.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fuck that might be the best written scene in the MCU.
Certainly in that show, I think so far.
Gosh,
best
so
written scene.
Yeah, obviously there are better scenes.
Yeah,
but I'm just talking about the writing, like the words on the page. That one was hard to beat, I think.
It was a good one. Yeah, because is there a black Captain America in the comics?
Isaiah Bradley, yeah.
Yeah, but they never show him as Captain America.
No, they show they show him in the comics as Cap. He was Cap for a while in the comics. And the MCU has maintained most of his story. Like in the comics, he did go to jail for being a black Captain America.
Okay. But then so he was black Captain America before they put him in jail?
Yes.
Okay, so he doesn't come out of jail and put back on the suit.
I think he does in the comics.
I've not read the show. We don't know.
Yeah, we don't know. I mean, he is 100 years old.
He is 100 years old and wants nothing to do with anything.
Yeah.
Anybody who walks into his house,
and
is
here's
like,
the thing.
Get the fuck out of here.
Here's the thing about Falcon Winter Soldier, and it's going to be tough to see how they close it out. They've written far too much sympathy for Isaiah Bradley and for the Flag Smashers, for the Flag Smashers to be the bad guys,
and they've really let you connect with all the antagonists.
Yeah, but John Walker.
John Walker's. I think that's what he's the obvious like this. Yeah. This is the bad
dude
guy.
Sucks.
This is the guy that you're not supposed to like. But all the other ones who are technically villains, Zemo.
I think Zemo is...
I guess they got him at the end of that episode.
I think Zemo, in the totality of the whole show...
he's one of the better parts.
I think he's the best written character every episode. If you take all the lines that are written for Zemo, I think he is consistent. I don't agree with Zemo, and obviously he's a shitty, smelly, bad boy.
Yeah,
but
he's a terrorist.
Yeah, well, and
he killed Black Panther's dad, right?
He did, because he hates superheroes. And
he wasn't a superhero, was he?
He was Black Panther.
Oh, he was Black Panther.
T'Chaka was Black Panther.
Yeah.
Yep.
And Black Panther, I guess they already had the superhero serum. It was
it's not a serum. They've got the heart-shaped herb.
Yeah, and it's like they take him down to that riverbank and
they go into the spirit realm,
the cliffside, and they fight and they get into the Michael B. Jordan in Black Panther as Killmonger.
Yes.
That was his name.
Yeah,
it was I was whenever they would show his character, I really wasn't listening to anything he said, just because all the little scar scales,
his scarring,
he had on him. Those were just so interesting to me. That's
cultural, I believe. I believe that's a custom in a lot of African cultures.
Yeah, scars. Some cultures scar themselves.
Yeah.
Which I just thought it was really cool.
Mm-hmm. Black Panther. I rewatched it a few weeks ago. With Tara. Yeah, it's actually better than I remember it being. I was like, because I had seen it after all the hype, and of course, very important movie. Don't want to diminish that. Very, 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 very important. But I watched it and I was like, it's an important movie, but I don't know that it's a great movie. And I rewatched it the other day and I was like, no, it's a great movie too. It's an important movie and a great movie.
Yeah, no, I liked it. I didn't love it when I first saw it.
Rewatch it. It'll hit you better, I think. Yeah,
probably. Yeah, I mean, I just like the soundtrack and it's also different knowing that that
Chadwick
guy,
Boseman's
Chadwick
dead.
Boseman's dead.
Yeah, what a tragedy.
Now, they're doing some special. It's like they just talk about him or something.
Yeah.
Some honorable celebration or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I never saw Ma Rainey's Black Bottom.
I still want to watch it. I read the script in college.
I read that play in college. I'm in college still. I read that play here. But no, it's a great play.
It is.
It's a great play.
It's my favorite August Wilson.
And I'm glad that he was cast as Levy.
Yeah, it's a good cast.
Because when I heard that they were making it and that he was in it, I was like, he's got to play Levy, right?
Of course.
Yeah. And then I don't know who they got to play Ma Rainey.
It's fucking Viola Davis.
Oh, it is.
I think it's Viola Davis.
Yeah, it is. That makes sense. They put her in everything.
She's great.
She is great.
She's so great.
What is she in that everybody that blew her up?
God, fuck everything.
Everything, I guess.
Everything.
What was it?
It's hard to remember a time when Viola Davis wasn't in everything.
No, she got an Oscar nom a couple years ago, though. What was that?
Didn't she get an Oscar nom for Fences?
Was it Fences? I never saw that one.
It's pretty good.
I saw the.
It's pretty much.
No, I saw the play of Fences at Athens West
in
Lexington.
Yeah. I didn't see it.
It was actually the guy who played the main guy in Fences. The guy who played him he had only been working with the script for like a week because the guy who was playing that guy just randomly died.
Wow, that's terrifying.
Like a week out from opening, and they're like, we got to get some other guy in here. And he was like, it was obvious that he was still like learning his lines. Mm-hmm. But dude, for someone who didn't even know their lines fully, some actors are just truly gifted, truly just like it was obvious that he didn't even have the lines down yet, so it was obvious that he was so early in his acting process, but just everything about, like, he played the character perfectly. Mm-hmm. I couldn't imagine what it would be like if he had been playing him the whole time, or the guy who they originally cast, if he had not died. I'm sure he was probably a good Troy, was that the main character?
Yeah, Troy's the main guy.
Which that's a play too, where the main character is not what you would call a good person.
No, certainly not.
But he's very, I don't know, he's important. Yeah, to that family and to everything.
And he shows like
August Wilson, man, shout out.
Yeah, August Wilson, what a genius.
Yeah, what a
genius. But like one of the things that I think is interesting, because when I was taking Herman's class, I wrote one of my Herman Farrell, our playwriting teacher.
Shout out.
Play analysis.
Knew August Wilson.
Yeah, who knew August Wilson.
Crazy. Talent. Recognized talent.
Very much so. I did my first play analysis paper on commonalities in family dramas, in contemporary family dramas. One of the things that I think is interesting about what August Wilson does with Troy is he takes a very sort of like toxic and emotionally abusive husband and father and forces us to look at him as our protagonist.
Yeah.
Which is fascinating.
I love it when the main character is not likable. Like you might like them, like they might have a charm about them, but like on paper they're not good people.
Right.
I love that. I love it when you have and sometimes it's not even an anti-hero, it's just an extremely flawed hero. Mm-hmm. Which I guess is what an anti-hero is. Or
even not a hero. Like, I don't know that I would go so far as to say Troy's a hero. He's just a flawed person that we happen to be
the protagonist.
That just happens to be our protagonist.
Yeah.
And I think that's interesting because, like, the spoilers for August Wilson's Fences.
Yeah, if you haven't
seen it or read it.
Yeah.
Troy dies at the end. Mm-hmm. And his son doesn't want to go to his funeral.
Yeah, he's like in the army or something, right?
Yeah, and his mom is begging him to go to his funeral. And we don't know if he goes or not, do we? It doesn't tell us if he goes, I don't think.
I think the play ends right before that, but the mom sits him down and is like, "Listen, I know your dad, like, he wasn't the best guy, but you got to understand he did this. He was dealing with this. He was doing this. He
had fucked her over at that point as well.
No, he had fucked her up majorly.
Yeah. Affair and raising the other woman's baby.
Yeah. He's like, but look at this fence he built.
Yeah. And like,
that's the name of the show.
It's that, I think one of the, because I don't, I'd have to do some deep script work to figure out like what I think the play is about at its core. But I think one of the interesting things is like the different roles of a parent, and are all of those equally important? Like, Troy, there's a great, probably the most famous scene in the show is like, how come you ain't never want me, or whatever the line is. Do you like me? I think it's the do you like me scene. Like you? Whoever said I have to like you?
Yeah.
And like,
where he's talking to his son?
Yeah. And Troy like talks about like how much he provides for him. Like, you sleep on my beds. I put food in your stomach.
And I have to like you
and
too.
I have to like you too.
Yeah.
And that's,
it's
the role of the parent as the loving, supportive figure and as the provider do not necessarily have to coexist.
It's realistic.
Yeah.
It's like it's you can't put idealized characters on stage or in a movie. I mean, you can, but you can't have them all. Like you have to make your characters human. Even here, we'll tie this back around to Captain America.
It all comes back.
It all comes back because they talk about that a lot in the show. Captain America's kind of like he's like this ideal, like perfect person.
Yeah.
And they say it in the show. They're like, he wouldn't want you to be putting this all on him. He was a human. He had his flaws too.
Well, and a great thing, like one of my favorite lines of this most recent episode is when Sam is like, you may not want to hear this, but it doesn't matter what Steve Rogers thought. And I'm like, whoa.
Yeah.
That's huge in the MCU. It doesn't matter what Steve Rogers thought. And I love that. I love that we finally get to say he wasn't perfect. He was a person.
Yeah. But the thing is, they don't like, if you go back and you watch, because I remember during Captain America, the Civil War, I think I was kind of like I think I was on Iron Man's side.
I was also on Iron Man's side.
I was like, shut up, Captain. I was like, what you? Because he was just throwing away everything for his friend Bucky.
Yeah.
Which I guess, like, looking back now, it's like cool and he's a good friend or whatever. Yeah. But I'm like, you're just gonna turn your back on the whole Avengers.
And here's what bothers me so much about Cap's choice, and I love Captain America as a character, so I say this with fondness, is the only person he ropes in to the Bucky situation is Sam Wilson, is the Falcon.
Yeah.
Like, why not rope everybody in? They would help you just because of who you are. If you don't think Tony Stark would help you find Bucky and get Bucky out of trouble, like, you're insane, Cap. He would help you.
Well, he tries.
If you just would have roped him in earlier, Zemo wouldn't have been able to use him.
Yeah. And like they try to talk it out, but before that, they have like that giant ass airport fight.
And even before that.
Even before that, they're like fighting each other in the war room or whatever.
Yeah, and like Bucky has already killed the king of Wakanda. And like, what do you want the governments of the world to do at that point? Like, you want them to not arrest the guy who they believe has just killed an international leader? What the fuck?
You're like, no, you don't get it. He's brainwashed.
You don't get it. It doesn't, like, that's great. That's super great. Not relevant. Now, again, it wasn't him. It was Zemo in disguise.
Yeah.
But still, it just like, and another thing that like bugs me is, like, Tony.
Which, by the way, they don't talk about Tony Stark at all. I don't know if they've mentioned him.
Certainly not in Falcon Winter Soldier.
Barely in WandaVision too, but they've mentioned Steve Rogers, like Cap, or like Tony died too.
Yeah. Well, I mean, but Tony got his swan song in Spider-Man: Far From Home. We got a lot of Tony Stark in that movie.
Oh, did you? I never saw that one.
It's good. It's good.
Okay.
But anyway, like it's very troubling to me that like they saw like the catastrophe in the Battle of New York and in Sokovia and in fucking Lagos and in fucking like, and even scenes that like Thunderbolt Ross didn't show them there in the fucking Avengers headquarters, like the fucking what about the
There's a million fights.
Yeah, the shit that happened in DC with the helicarriers going down. The shit that happened fucking when the Hulk went on the rampage in fucking South Africa. Like, what about all that shit? Like, if the governments of the world, and again, very anti-state here, you know, I don't love the government. I think they're shitty. But if every government in the world is like, you know, overcoming their decades of political strife and distance, say we've got to do something about this. This is a problem.
About this Bucky guy.
Or the fucking Avengers. Like, we got to put these guys in check because they're causing some serious damage. How can you say, well, that's not fair?
We should just be our own rogue
We should be allowed to do
superhero
whatever we
team.
want.
Yeah. I need to watch The Boys because
It's so good.
I think they address like all that stuff. Like, like they would have to be connected in the government in some way or whatever. Oh, by the way, that reminds me. It reminds me when they said like Cap's his shield doesn't technically belong to America or whatever.
Legal gray area.
They brought in fucking. I'm blanking on her name right now. Why am I blanking on her name?
Louise Dreyfus. What's her first name?
Julia Louise Dreyfus.
That's right. Yeah.
I kept thinking of Elaine, and I was like, I know it's not Elaine. I know it's not. That's her Seinfeld name. No, Julia Louise Dreyfus, who she introduced her name, her long ass name.
Yeah.
And then we
I did
watched
some
it together.
Googling to make sure I was right.
You did some giggling, and then you did some Googling, and then even more giggling.
I'll tell you who it was.
And I guess she's some. I don't even care who she is. I'm just happy that Julia Louise Dreyfus is in the. It's
very, very
MCU.
Interesting who she is.
Do you think they'll address it in this next episode? Speculate.
So in the comics, she is a character called Madam Hydra,
I've heard of that.
Who is the?
Is she evil?
She is. She's the head of Hydra.
Julia Louise
after
Dreyfus,
Baron Strucker in the comics.
She has so much better villain energy than she does good guy energy.
And I think it's because, as far as we know, Hydra is completely gone in the MCU.
As far as we know.
So it's very interesting that she approaches John Walker as perhaps the new leader of Hydra. And so perhaps because there's a very recent comic book arc where there is a revelation. It was hugely controversial at the time, but I think it's a brilliant story where it's revealed that back in the 40s, Steve Rogers got captured by Hydra and was also a sleeper agent like the Winter Soldier.
Oh.
And that's where we get the iconic Captain America saying, "Hail Hydra." And he was essentially Hydra's Captain America.
Oh, so he is going to be the new Hitler America.
Yeah,
Captain Hitler.
Essentially, yes. People hated it because they did it to Steve Rogers at the time. But I think making Steve Rogers or making John Walker Hydra's Captain America is very, very interesting because it talks like we don't have the time to get into this ideologically on the podcast. We're probably running low on time. But fascism preys on vulnerable people.
Yeah.
And John Walker is a
very
vulnerable person
I've ever seen
with a huge ego.
And he's a super soldier now.
He's just gone through a crushing defeat at the hands of a person of color.
And a loss
of a close friend who is also a person of color.
Mm-hmm.
And this is how fascism roots itself in people. It targets people who have a brokenness or a weakness or a frustration within themselves.
Yep. And then they get the girl from Seinfeld to go up and
talk them into fascism. And that's what happens. But I think if Hydra is going to come back fresh,
do you think that'll probably be the what is it? What are the after credits scenes?
Yeah, but just post credit scenes.
It's the seed of the next movie. It'll probably be her like just in Hydra gear going it's like blue lightning shoots all around her and he's like coming out of something is like, "You are now Darth Captain America."
Yeah. But they could be starting to do a huge Captain America story from back in the 70s called Secret Empire, where essentially fascists infiltrate the United States government. And this is when Nixon was president, and Captain America's like trying to root out the fascists, and he finds out that the leader of the fascists
is Nixon.
Yeah. And Nixon kills himself at the end of the book, and Cap gives up the title of Captain America when he finds out that Nixon was a fascist.
Interesting.
Yeah, the comic book never says it's Nixon, but it's definitely Nixon.
There's so many old comic book stories, and there's a million different versions of like I'm sure, and I guess they're not all canon, but because like I'm sure Captain America has had his head blown off in one series, and and Spider-Man fucking acid spider cum kills Mary Jane.
Yeah, he gives her cancer with his radioactive spider cum.
Yeah. Which I would name this episode
Radioactive Spider Cum,
but probably not. I don't know.
That's a bad Spider-Man. I've read so much Spider-Man, and that is one of the worst Spider-Man stories ever written. But I have a very controversial comic book opinion about Spider-Man.
Okay.
And that's gosh, if there are any Spider-Man fans listening to this, they're going to be mad at me.
I think you've told me this before.
I just think that Peter Parker is better with Black Cat Felicia Hardy than Mary Jane.
Yeah.
I just think that. I love Felicia Hardy as a character. I love her so much.
Who's the other one?
Mary Jane Watson.
There's
Gwen Stacy, and Felicia Hardy are his three main love interests.
And Felicia Hardy, she's the
Black Cat.
She's the Black Cat.
Yep. She's a cat burglar. She's got Catwoman vibes.
Oh, she's literally Catwoman.
Kind of.
Is that have they introduced Felicia is that Zendaya?
No. Zendaya is MJ.
Oh,
what
she's
calling
MJ,
her.
yeah.
Yeah. She's not Mary Jane, she's MJ. Which I don't just call her Mary Jane. I don't care.
Yeah.
But
call her marijuana.
It would make me. They'll never introduce Felicia Hardy into Tom Holland's Spider-Man story because Felicia Hardy is just such a. She's just such a gray character. Like she fucks Spider-Man over so many times, but God, I love her. I love her so much.
So they've killed off the old guard has moved on.
Pretty
the classic.
Much, yeah. We'll see
Thor,
Mark Ruffalo and Thor some more.
Yeah. But Captain America, Iron Man,
Hawkeye's definitely retired.
Black Widow, but it seems like the new guard is coming in. Tom Holland seems to be the new Tony Stark or whatever.
Yeah,
he's definitely. I guess now that
he's part of the linchpin for sure.
Now that Chadwick Boseman is dead, he's for sure. But
I will say, I think Scarlet Witch is gonna be a linchpin going forward. Elizabeth Olsen really fucking planted herself firmly in WandaVision.
Yeah, and WandaVision was so big that they can't just chill off her character now. Are they making Guardians of the Galaxy 3?
They are. Volume 3 is coming out.
James Gunn's directing it.
He is. Yep,
Good.
Yeah. We don't know what it's gonna look like, but
I'm sure it'll be good. I'm
excited about it.
I wish the Guardians of the Galaxy would get a little more weight in the MCU. I guess they're fun movies.
Well, it's hard because they're flying around in space.
Yeah, and they're all kind of renegades. They don't even care about the right thing to do technically. I guess.
Not really.
Yeah, they're just kind of flying around mucking it up. But I feel so if Tom. Because who are the other?
You got Doctor Strange,
Ant-Man, I guess.
Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Yeah.
Captain Marvel, Brie Larson is out there. We've got Monica Rambeau now as Photon.
Yeah, that's the thing is with all these shows, they're introducing more and more new characters.
We've got Bucky and Sam, obviously.
Yeah. I guess you got Vision.
Well,
maybe
with a question mark.
Yeah, you're gonna have Vision.
Yeah,
you're gonna have Vision after WandaVision.
We gotta. She's gotta get him back.
Yeah,
she's gotta get her family back. It'll break my heart if she doesn't.
But I think so. So is Peter Parker just gonna exist because they can't keep him in high school forever?
Well, I mean, most of the really well-known great Spider-Man stuff is when he's in college.
Oh, yeah, and he works for the
Daily Bugle.
Yeah, they haven't had that.
No, we saw J.J. Well, actually, you don't know this.
Oh, yeah, because I haven't seen the Homecoming.
Yeah,
Yeah.
But we actually have seen the Daily Bugle in the MCU.
Okay. Well, that's my fault. I have not seen that.
Yeah.
There's a couple ones that I tried to watch Ant-Man and the Wasp.
I love that movie. God, I love that movie.
Yeah, I turned it off like 20 minutes in. I wouldn't.
Not a right vibe.
Yeah, it wasn't anything against the movie. It was just I think I at the time I'd put on South Park or some shit.
Anyway,
Family Guy or something.
Falcon Winter Soldier is great.
Yes.
Very well written, very well choreographed, very well acted.
It's we got one episode left. I guess we'll talk about that whenever that comes out. We're not putting as much focus and care into WandaVision I can't
get WandaVision off our mind.
So
WandaVision is just, it was a cultural moment.
Yeah.
And it was so good. And this isn't not good.
It was like Tiger King.
Yeah, exactly.
Which you know what I remembered?
What's
literally
that?
today. Literally today. I thought about this today. I never finished Tiger King.
What?
I never finished. I watched most of it, and then I had like an episode 1 or 2 episodes left, and someone was like, yeah, they're on drugs or something like that. Like someone kind of told me the end of it, and I was like, okay, I think I got the vibe. It took me forever to start watching it because it was so popular. I'm an asshole. If things are really popular, I'm just like, no, probably everybody likes it. What's good about it?
Here's the thing because this is what I feel about Tiger King. I don't love, because what we saw was animal abuse. Like, these are people who abuse animals.
Yeah, they're drug addicts in Oklahoma who abuse animals.
Yeah,
and
he
definitely burned down his own fucking place for insurance and
killed a bunch of tigers.
Yeah, all this.
And like he has these poor, desperate people who don't have a lot of options in their lives.
The people who
that he also abuses financially.
The people who work for him are the only good people in that documentary, and only some of him, like the one-armed lesbian who works for him, like that lost her arm in the fucking tiger attack. Yeah, and then there's his gay boyfriends husbands who aren't even gay. They're just meth heads.
Well, and like, I don't know.
Right. I didn't. That's the episode I didn't see where they're like, turns out they're just all on meth.
Well, and it's like, because
I saw coming.
I believe drugs should be decriminalized. I think we should have compassion and empathy for drug abusers. I think we should help them.
Yes.
They're people with medical problems, but like, what bothers me is just, I don't know. Anytime I see something like, have you ever seen The Wild, Wonderful Whites of West Virginia?
No, too many W's for me.
So it's about this, fucking crazy hillbilly family from West Virginia. And like, anytime I see something that has an air of like exploiting the rural poor for comedy, or like, it does not sit well in my spirit.
You like Joe Dirt?
Huh?
You like Joe Dirt?
I love Joe Dirt. Who doesn't?
Joe Dirt's great.
But that's not exploitative. It's fun.
No, it's
But
it's
like, the whites are real people.
It's of the fucking, like, David Spade. It's kind of that trailer trash. He's Arizona trailer trash, I think.
Yeah.
Like, he's a desert kid.
Yeah.
Which I feel like people from the desert, that New Mexico, Arizona, obviously like Mexico and like South American, I don't know, Middle East and all that stuff, but especially in America, those people are just gritty, man. If you are used to almost stepping on a scorpion, you're built different.
Yeah, well, and like, I don't know, it just, as someone who comes from the Appalachian rural working class poor, like, if Hillbilly Elegy by J.D. Vance came out a few years ago, and it was a huge fucking slap in the face to Appalachian people. It was like this that's the one with Glenn Close was in it.
Glenn Close.
Amy Adams.
Yeah, it won Oscars and shit.
Fuck it. Fuck that story. It makes Appalachian people look like fucking lazy, helpless people who stay in poverty because we want to and we don't pull ourselves up by our bootstraps, and it pisses me off. I hope J.D. Vance rots in hell for he's not even from Appalachia. His grandmother was from Appalachia, and he came and visited her, and he wrote a book about how fucking trailer trash that community was, and his grandmother was the only good person in it. And fuck him. Fuck him. He doesn't have any right to talk about my people.
Are there other Appalachian movies?
Yeah, like fucking watch Mate One, the true story about how government agents gunned down miners in the streets for fighting for their rights. Mate One is a fantastic movie. Chris Cooper's in it.
What's Eating Gilbert Grape? That had to happen somewhere in Appalachia, right?
No, actually.
That's a great movie.
The Devil All the Time is an amazing Appalachian story. It's brand new. Tom Holland and Robert Pattinson are in it.
Oh.
Watch The Devil All the Time. It's a great Appalachian story.
Brits playing Appalachians.
Robert Pattinson's accent is not very good, but Tom Holland's is quite good.
Really?
Yes, his is very, very good.
Little charming kid.
I tell you what,
Holland.
I saw Tom Holland in that movie. He was doing an Appalachian accent. He had he had blue jeans on, a denim jacket, and a denim baseball cap. And for half a second, I was like, was I in this movie?
You are like a little ratty
Tom Holland. Yeah. I am Tom Holland's Wario.
Yeah. Yeah, you are.
I am Tom Holland's Wario. I think that might be the title of the episode. Tom Holland's Wario.
For sure. You Tom Holland, he's so lovable, I think,
is.
because one he's just young and charming or whatever.
Yeah.
But he's a theater kid. He was specifically
fucking,
a dance kid. He was Billy Elliot.
He was Billy Elliot.
Yeah. Which I think is funny. Like, there's him dancing to that Rihanna.
Yeah,
video.
Umbrella. Fuck yeah.
He's a killer. I mean, that's kind of why he was the perfect cast for Spider-Man, is because he can actually move his body. Unlike Andrew Garfield. I like Andrew Garfield a lot. He's
very talented.
Everything he's in, I enjoy him in, except for the Spider-Man movies.
Yeah, he's just not a great Spider-Man.
Yeah, but Tobey Maguire is just like a 45.
Pizza time.
Tobey Maguire has been 45 years old his entire life, and he was when he was playing a teenager in Spider-Man. He was like probably like.
He was a great Peter Parker though.
Yeah, no. I will always both shit on and defend the Sam Raimi Spider-Mans because they're not great movies.
I like them though.
They're not good movies, but they're not bad movies.
Alfred Molina as Dr. Octopus in Spider-Man 2. Hello?
Perfect casting.
Perfect casting.
Dude, Willem Dafoe
as the Green Goblin.
Perfect.
A perfect cast. Spider-Man 3. Well, we're not gonna talk about it.
Spider-Man 3. I like the guy who played Sandman.
Yeah, he's good.
Okay. What's that guy's name? Topher Grace. Not the best Venom.
Well, Sam Raimi didn't want to do Venom. Like the studio pushed him into doing a Venom story. He never wanted to do the symbiote.
He
wanted Sandman to be the only villain. He wanted Sandman and
Hobgoblin
and New Goblin to be the villains.
I remember that, dude. That's what we knew James Franco as growing up.
Yeah,
we knew him.
He was Harry Osborn. He's so good too. Damn,
I love James Franco so much.
Good. James Franco, if you ever listen to this, we love you.
James, you're a weird guy,
but I love you.
But you are a true artist.
The Disaster Artist. What a great movie.
Yeah,
watch The Disaster Artist.
Yeah. Shout out James Franco.
Hey, both the Franco. If your last name is Franco,
oh yeah,
how you doing?
What Dave
Franco.
Tim Franco? What's the
Dave Franco?
His other some families they really just the Hemsworths 100%. They just got good Hollywood genes.
How are we doing on time here, bud?
It's probably about time to wrap.
Yeah.
Very good. I've been burping.
Who's gonna close? Oh, very, very big thanks to the Linux Clinic who had us on their show.
Yes.
Earlier this week.
Yeah, we had fun. We went out there, met those guys.
Yeah, Rue and Johan, very, very welcoming, beautiful gentleman.
Johan.
Johan. Producer Johan.
Oh yeah, producer Johan.
Yeah. So please give them look them up, give them a watch and a subscribe. They're on YouTube as the Linux Clinic.
Yeah. We did like a reaction video
to a
with
song
them
that slapped. All the way slap. I've been listening to the fucking Spider Collective.
Have you Spider Gang?
The Spider Gang Collective, yeah. I've been listening to that shit all week.
Oh my god, that shit! I went back. I went back on YouTube and I watched that video. I'd forgotten what it was like,
yeah.
and it's just, it's an interesting experience. Look up Spider Gang on YouTube.
You'll get to see me come to head with someone who suffered the ravages of whose grandparents suffered the ravages of
communism.
Russian of the Stalinist regime.
It was a very interesting conversation because I had been, that's a conversation that I had wanted to see a while. Your anarchist communist views coming to clash with someone from like
a very entrepreneurial capitalist.
Yeah.
Yes.
From who has descendants in that Eastern. He kept calling himself a Slav.
A Slav, yeah.
From Slavic roots.
And that's the thing is like, while I'm unmoved in my perspective, like I appreciate and acknowledge the trauma that has been passed down from. Like I can't imagine.
Yeah, well,
and the trauma that I have.
Yeah,
with
we said that on the show. I was like, this is great because both of you guys like. That you both seem like smart guys, and you both obviously you're informing your beliefs based off of your history and your family's history and all that. And I just it was a really cool conversation. Cool guys.
Appalachian people got killed by capitalists, and in Europe, capitalists got killed by communists.
Yeah.
What a crazy world.
Yeah.
But bold of you to assume I believe in a state. Bold of you to assume I believe there should be any state at all.
I feel like when you have arguments with people, you should bring that up earlier.
That bold of you to believe
in the conversation that you're like, by the way, I'm an anarchist.
I'm an anarchist.
Yeah,
I don't know that there should be a state.
Yeah.
I think perhaps that governance is part of the problem. People who are inherently above you may be part of the issue.
And that's Treyton Blackburn.
That's me.
Folks.
Hey, if somebody tells you that they want to be above you, fuck them.
Fuck them.
Fuck them.
I am Evan Pride. I am above you.
I am Treyton Blackburn, and I'll be below you as much as you want.
So check out Linux Clinic on YouTube.
Email us at
kyfriedroadkill@gmail.com.
Yes.
The Linux Clinic episode, I think it's just named like comedians and podcasters.
Yeah, comedians and Kentucky boys.
Yeah. They kept calling us the Kentucky Fried Boys.
The Kentucky Fried, which isn't bad. The Kentucky Fried Boys.
The Kentucky Fried Boys. The Roadkill really brings it home. I think.
I think we're more the Roadkill Boys than we're the Kentucky Fried Boys.
Yeah. All right. Last episode we co-signed off.
We did.
So we need to restore order.
This
is like after the blip.
When we all came back.
Yeah, we need to GCR this.
Yeah.
Or GRC.
Who's Global Repatriation Council.
Yeah.
GRC. I'll sign us off. You gotta count me. You gotta count me down.
3 3 3 3 3 2 2 2 2 1 1 1 1.
Ah, shit, there's a possum in that dog food can! Yeehaw! I'm Treyton Blackburn!
I'm Evan Pride.
Good night, and God bless.